Okay, everybody. Thank you for calling in. This is this week's Weedly Report. We're going to take a look at what's going on, some of the things that are going on in the legal cannabis and medicinal marijuana sectors. We got to be quick this week, though, because some of the people that I work with want me to put this on LinkedIn. They think it would be a good idea. So apparently, to be on LinkedIn, it's got to be less than 10 minutes. Personally, I don't like LinkedIn. I think it's kind of depressing. It's really just people that are either trying to sell you something or looking for a new job. The managers I speak to, they're pretty much too busy to be on LinkedIn. But anyway, whatever. I'm willing to try anything once. So as you all know, I don't do any esoteric technical analysis like GAN theory or Elliott waves. I think this stuff is like Bigfoot and UFOs. It's cool to talk about, but I don't think it's credible. I really just focus on finding where the supply and demand levels are and seeing what the trends are. I used to trade liquid securities, and you have to know in trader speak where the buyers live and where the sellers live. And I can tell you in my 20 years of being a trader for various hedge funds, I never heard any successful manager ever once talk about Elliott waves or GAN theory, although I have heard them talk about Bigfoot and crypto zoology. So anyway, now that these medicinal marijuana equities and legal cannabis equities have had a sort of a trading history, they're starting to develop important and identifiable supply and demand levels. So knowing where these levels are can help you, whether you're a long-term holder or a short-term trader. It's really important to know where the buyers and sellers come out. Like, for instance, if you want to sell something at 20 and the stock is trading at 1950 and there's a huge seller at 1995, you might want to put your sell order at 1994 because it might never get to 20. These are 5 themes and opportunities I try to focus on. Marijuana's current widespread social acceptance, it's everywhere you look. I believe inevitably it's going to be legal federally, and that's going to bring banking into it. So that'll be a huge advantage or asset for the industry. And I think if you want to get in, you should try to get in now because things are going to be much higher after that happens. You could focus on recreational cannabis, hash bars, whatever, oils, bongs, this, that, the other thing. You can also focus on medicinal, which really should be thought of more as biotech. And some of the things that are going on with medicinal are really incredible, especially with pain management. I read a statistic today that in the states where there is medicinal marijuana, there is 25% less death rate from opioids, with reference to the opioid epidemic that the country is undergoing. So there are huge opportunities there for kids that have autism, pain management. I mean, it's in a lot of ways, it's almost like a wonder drug. I suggest you read up on it. There's just amazing opportunities. There's also these peripheral opportunities, things like, who makes the packaging that they sell this stuff in, who makes this, who makes that. Where I live, there's a private equity fund, and they are investing in drug rehabs. So I guess that makes sense, right? More drugs, more drug rehabs. So there's plenty of different ways to skin a cat. This is Apria. You can see here that the 13 level is support and resistance. You don't need to be a chart guru. It's very clear. So obviously there's a big seller at the 13 level. It was support here. It was support here. On the lower side, you can see that there is support around 1130. So going forward, I would be watching these same levels. If you're a trend follower, you may not, and you're bullish on this, you may want to wait till it clears 13 before you buy it. You might miss a point or two, but the supply and demand dynamics, the risk and reward dynamics could be much better. You're not going to catch the bottom, but if it's above here, it could be a confirmation that the trend is heading upwards. Here's the Chronos group. Again, you don't need to be a chart guru to see that there is resistance at the $8 level. It was overbought here. It was overbought here. Reverted. On the lower side, the lows have been around 550. So going forward, I would be watching both those levels for continued resistance and support. Emerald Health. This thing is interesting. It's probably a piece of garbage, but it's been falling like a rock since it broke this 3 level. Now, there might be a trade idea coming here because it's probably going to get to 2, and 2 is important psychologically, and 2 was resistance and support here. So it's probably a piece of junk, and eventually it's probably going to go to 0, but you might get a dead cat bounce here. Some bottom fishers might come in if it's oversold, and maybe you could buy it at 210, 220, sell it at 250, or even buy it at 2. The key is, though, not to get in until it's on the way up. You got to wait for the downtrend line to break. Too many people try to catch the bottom, and it's really just a human emotion or drive to be right. But it's more important to make money than to be right. If you could get rid of the idea that you always want to be right, you'll have an easier time trading. I know that's kind of counterintuitive, but again, if this bounces off 2, you wait for it to go up, because then maybe you can catch it and sell it at 250. If you try to get it right at 2 and it keeps going down, you're going to be underwater. What's amazing, too, is that even highly educated institutional managers that are getting paid a lot of money, in most cases, in my opinion, more money than they deserve, I've even seen them try to do things like catch the exact bottom. But buy it on the way up, and then you might have then you'll have the momentum. GW Pharmaceuticals, we can see how this 140 level is important. It was resistance here, it was resistance here. So got down here and it's support after getting oversold. We can see it's had a nice rally. So going forward, watch the 40 level. When I say oversold, I mean it's trading more than 2.5 standard deviations outside of its normal trading range. Actually, the way I do it is on the downside, I have this band. This represents its standard deviations at 2.5, because on the downside, things are more emotional and things go down faster, and bottoms are more choppy than tops. Tops are usually pretty smooth, whereas bottoms are usually pretty choppy. I mean, I guess you kind of see it here. And that's because things sell off on fear and they rise on hope, and fear is a much stronger emotion than hope is. So ask your friends who believe in efficient market theory, why do markets go down faster than they go up? And they are not going to be able to give you a legitimate answer. All right, this is the Horizons Marijuana Life Sciences ETF. If you like this sector, this could be a longer term way to play it because of the diversity of an ETF. Again, you can see there's clear levels that have developed here. 15 was the top all throughout March. 15 was the top here, and the top here became overbought, reverted. The recent bottom has been at 13. So I think it's safe to say this thing is going to trade between 15 and 13 for the near future. Again, if you want to buy this thing long term and you're a trend or momentum player, I would say wait till it clearly stays above 15. Wait till it gets up here, consolidates, holds the 15 level for support, and then you buy it, because that might be a good sign. That's probably a good sign that's going to continue. That's going to start moving forward. When things get to resistance levels and they're overbought, they revert. When they get to support levels and they're oversold, they tend to revert. What you want to do is wait for something to get to a level and consolidate, and not be overbought or oversold, because that's often an indication that the trend is going to continue. All right, they're telling me I have a minute and a half left, so let me. This innovative industrial properties, you can see that the 3475 level is important. Here, now it broke it, so it's become support. So keep an eye on this thing. If this 3475 level breaks, probably going to get down to the bottom of this range here, which is around 30. So that's kind of a significant move in such a short period. This med relief is kind of all over the place. The 28 level is important, but it's very choppy. It's here. You can see it broke the uptrend. It's really just going all over the place. Usually that's a bearish sign longer term when you see this kind of choppiness. All right, canopy growth. 42 is an important level. Was a top here. Was a top here. Got over it, but it became overbought. So going forward, continue to watch the 42 level. If you want to buy it, you may wait until it gets above 42. All right, well, I got 30 seconds left, and I'll be very quick because they're waving at me. If you want to consider investing in these things, one, make sure that there's enough liquidity. If you're an institutional investor, make sure there's other institutions, so there's someone to buy it to or sell it to. Make sure you're trading the ADR or the primary. Keep an eye on the Canadian dollar exchange rate. Again, there's levels that are starting to develop, and I am telling that I have 8 seconds